Welcome to a Monday edition of the Morning Break. I am Rob Patz. It is good to be here. Man, I'm excited about today's show. In fact, I'm so excited about Dr. Alex McFarland being with us. We may cut the open short today. We might. Or, knowing me, and if you know me, you know I may talk through my whole segment just like normal. But we got a few things we want to talk about. Of course, coming up to the end of October. And yes, fall is here and upon us. End of this week, daylight savings time. What's your thought on this? Of course, we move. And by the way, interesting thing about this, it is the number one searched phrase on Google this morning is daylight savings time and everything that goes with it. We can talk about that some other time because that is a whole interesting thing. Important stuff because we do have viewers in the great country of Jamaica, and we are praying for you. Melissa updated to a Cat 5 this morning, and it is the worst thing. I am not a meteorologist, by the way. I did take some classes while I was in school, but the worst thing has happened for it. It is basically sitting still right now and gaining energy as it sits out there, pointed directly towards Jamaica. Pray for all those folks there. We're praying for our viewers and for the pastors in Jamaica. They say it's going to make landfall sometime around Tuesday. They don't have an exact time because, as I said, it has stalled out there just sitting in the ocean. Kind of a scary thing. Got to talk football. You know, weekend is over. How'd your college team do? Mine didn't play. One of mine, but of course, being originally from Washington, one of my teams played. Huskies won in a game that just was an odd score. I didn't get to see any of the highlights, but man, great game for the Huskies. The Ohio State Buckeyes were off this week. Interesting changes, though, happening. Brian Kelly out at LSU. Arguably, if not one of the top 5 jobs, maybe top 10 jobs in the country. Penn State also still looking for a coach. Being somebody that owns a radio station in Alabama, okay, I'm gonna give you something that I've heard twice this morning. They're saying that Nick Saban should be one of the calls, either for the LSU job. Now, of course, if you follow college football, you know Saban was the head coach at LSU, so it would be kind of a homecoming. They're also talking about Penn State. Crazy things to think about, but LSU looking for a coach, Penn State looking for a coach. A lot of other coaches and coaching changes obviously going to happen throughout the off season, but it's just this football season's crazy. Update on my fantasy football team, by the way, who has gone 4-0 after going 0-3. We're looking good this week, playing Jody Powell. Of course, Jody has a show on our network Monday nights called Falls Count Anywhere. I'm ahead, beating Jody right now, but we've got final games this weekend. Detroit playing. It's going to be a good weekend. You know who I've become a fan of in the NFL right now is the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know what it is, just totally a big thing for me right now. I am totally fanning out. Love it for them. Don't live that far, about 3 hours from Indianapolis now. So I get a lot of the news, and it's neat. It's a cool thing going on there. They won again yesterday. And by the way, I got to talk about this fall. You see the mug? Totally. I did not buy these mugs. My wife did. But I got to talk about the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. 7 Weeks Coffee. If you enjoy great coffee, you should try out their coffee. Plus, it has a great message. And we love it. My wife was smart enough. If you notice, I mentioned that a lot. She's smarter than I am at a lot of this stuff. My wife bought a variety pack to start with. We met them about 9 months ago in Dallas, the owners of 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, here's the thing. Buy the variety pack. Try them all. I'm personally a dark roast guy. Love dark roast coffee. And so that's kind of what we've settled in on. And so I'm a dark roast guy, but you can get it whether you get it whole bean ground or in the K cup. Now, personally, I like K cups. They're fine when you're in a hurry, but really get the ground, get your own grinder, and make the best coffee in the world. 7 Weeks Coffee. When we come back from the break, it's Dr. Alex McFarland. We're going to talk all kinds of neat stuff after this.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Thanks to great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, you saw the ad. You saw how incredible their vision is. Go to their website, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 to get a discount. And you know what? I'm super excited about this interview since it's been set up. Been a big fan of his for a while. Dr. Alex McFarland. Hey, Dr. McFarland, I have a question for you. Do you drink coffee?
Do I drink coffee? A little bit.
Now, would you have that with your eggs in the morning?
God bless you. You know what? I'm so blessed. You were talking about your wife, and I'm blessed. My wife, Angie, she made scrambled eggs, and I was getting ready to sit down this interview. I got in late last night from Pennsylvania. I was on the road speaking and traveling. I love the Lord's allowed me to travel and preach, but you know, when you're traveling, you don't always get a good meal. So I am so blessed this morning, getting ready for one thing, getting to talk with you, Rob. That's a blessing. But also, I was, you know, I'm not shy. You and I were queuing up the interview, and I'm eating scrambled eggs on camera. And not everybody would do that, but I just feel so comfortable with you. I feel like I've got a lifelong friend here. And I said, he won't mind. I'll eat my breakfast while we queue up for the interview.
Oh, yeah. Oh, heavens. Yeah. It's awesome. I love that. I love the fact that, you know, you felt comfortable. It's because there's so much neat stuff. And I told him ahead of time, I have kind of been a fan of Alex from afar. We were supposed to meet in Dallas a few months ago, and unfortunately both of our schedules kind of didn't work for time wise, but love what you're doing. There's so much I want to talk about. And you're so talented in so many areas. So this may turn into like multiple shows because I'm never going to get everything, you know, asked and answered. First off, though, and I want to do this because it's super important. It's been out since October 7th. You have a book out called 100 Bible Questions and Answers on Prophecy and End Times. And I think that's super important right now. If you watch the news at all, you should realize that we are living in a time where prophecy is happening right in front of us. It's almost like we're getting to read the Bible from television.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for mentioning the book. I wish I had a copy to hold up or something. I actually don't, but it's published by Broad Street Publishing out of Minnesota. It's available everywhere. It's in Barnes and Noble. It's on Amazon.com. Folks, if you have a local Christian bookstore, please try to support it because we're rooting for the Christian bookstores too. But yeah, we do a radio show, Rob, called Exploring the Word, and we've done it for 15 years. It's on the American Family Radio Network. And just over the years, I've kept a lot of journals of questions, actual questions from actual radio listeners. And we did a book about 6 years ago, just 100 Bible questions and answers. But the publisher came back and said, hey, what do you got for volume 2? So about 3 years ago, we did a book called 100 Bible Questions and Answers for Families. And that book was questions related to parenting and marriage and just building a home. Well, then 2 years ago, and this is kind of amazing, the publisher said, could we do a book on Bible prophecy? And I said, well, yeah, because more and more of our listeners And we're on 237 terrestrial radio stations, like an actual radio station. But then we're also on the web and on apps. And so we have listeners all around the world. And more, Rob, people were asking, are we in the last days? All this stuff about Israel, and there's conflict in the Middle East, and there's the rise of AI. And we're kind of like in a global surveillance state, the wiring of the planet. And is Jesus literally going to return? And by the way, yes, he is. So 2 years ago, the publisher said, how about you write a book on 100 Bible questions about Bible prophecy? Little did we know that we set the release date for October 7, 2025. And that turned out to be exactly the 2-year anniversary of when Hamas, October 7, 2023, Israel was attacked by the jihadist group Hamas. And we just felt like that was amazing. And the week that the book came out was the Gaza peace treaty brokered by President Donald Trump. So, yeah, the book came out. It's only been out 2 weeks, but it's really making, I think the first week it was out, it sold 18,237 copies. That's strong. And by the way, let me just say, the books that we do about exploring the Word, 100 Bible questions, questions for families, neither I nor my co-author make any money on that. It completely goes to evangelism. Now, there are other books I've written that I make a little bit of royalties on, like the 10 Most Common Objections to Christianity, some of my apologetics books. But the radio books, nobody makes any money. It all goes into evangelism and outreach.
See, and I want to talk about something that you brought up there, and we want to talk about the ceasefire agreement that went into effect on October 10th.
Yes.
What do you believe this peace looks like, and how long does it last? It's a tough question, and I'm asking you kind of on a broad stroke, but how long do you think it? And I hate to sound like a negative person, but we kind of know the terrain of the area and the players that are in it. How long do you think that this peace lasts for, or is it something that everyone is kind of exhausted in the region and they want this peace to last for a while?
That's a great question. I think on the street level, absolutely. The Gazans and the Palestinians, they want the peace to last. The thing is, you've got the caliphs and the imams and the leaders that keep stirring things up. I want to say categorically that the land of Israel belongs to Israel. This is very important. Muhammad was born in 571 AD. Islam started about 610 AD. Well, when Islam was birthed, the Jews had already been in that land over 3,500 years. When I speak at secular universities throughout America, Rob, students and professors that are very anti-Semitic, they will say, oh, indigenous people rights. We have Columbus Day and July 4th, and yet left woke people, they talk about First Nations Day. In other words, it's like we don't recognize America. We recognize people that we theorize were here hundreds of years ago. Well, there is no more indigenous. If you're going to advocate for the rights of indigenous peoples, the undeniably indigenous of indigenous peoples in the world are the Israelites in the land of Israel.
Yep.
And so to your questions, look, I believe biblically there will not really be peace in the land of Israel until the Prince of Peace, Jesus, comes back. This current deal, I give it 2 years or less, not because I don't believe in the good intentions. Donald Trump has good intentions. Netanyahu has good intentions. But here's the thing. The Islamic people around the world, and I'll prove what I'm about to say, they have a 0% track record of keeping the terms of peace agreements. Now, I'm not going to quote a right-wing flamethrower, evangelical Bible-banging Christian. I'm going to quote a Harvard professor, Samuel Huntington. He was a member of the Jimmy Carter presidential cabinet, the late President Carter. Jimmy Carter himself was no right-winger. In fact, fairly milquetoast and tame. There was a book that came out shortly after 9/11 called The Clash of Civilizations by Samuel Huntington. And that book documents how Islam and the West are incompatible. And our longest ally in the Middle East, the only stable democracy, the force for order and human rights is Israel in the Middle East. And yet they continually get attacked. The UN has bullied Israel to give up land for peace, which has never worked. And even right now, historically and by divine right, what we call Gaza, and there's the call for the establishment of a Palestinian state, that's land that belongs to Israel.
Yeah.
So even if an uneasy truce is achieved, it's almost like this. Let's say somebody is breaking in your house, harming your family, and stealing your stuff, and the intruder says, "By the way, the beatings will diminish if you let me live in a room of your house." I mean, what kind of a deal is that?
Yeah.
That's really, but Israel, in the long-term greater good, they have acquiesced to so many proposals like this over the years. Sadly, it will not last. Not because the intentions weren't good, not because peace isn't a worthy goal, but it's because the Islamic worldview. And by the way, theatlantic.com 2 years ago, theatlantic.com, which is again not some conservative right-wing Christian thing, theatlantic.com wrote an article about the aggression of Islam, and they basically said the same thing. I'll say this, I'll throw it back to you. Over and over, we've been told by American academics and leftists, they'll say, "Oh, this is not true Islam. The 1993 World Trade Center bomb, that's not true Islam. Terrorism, the shootings, Fort Cole, 9/11, the Charlie Hebdo killings in France, the beheadings of journalists live streamed in 2015. That's not true Islam." Theatlantic.com said no. The really purest of the pure, faithful Muslims understand the call to subjugate the world, beginning with Israel.
Alex,
So,
do you worry about, and not to change the topic completely, but in that, are you worried about the migration into the United States?
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, case in point. Hang with me, folks. Fall of 22, I had a speaking tour through Southwest Texas. I was all along the southern border, and I'm on the radio, and we're promoting, and I was in about 7 cities in a month. Well, listen to this, for those that say, "Oh, Biden didn't keep the border open." I had mayors of small Texas towns. I had sheriffs and law enforcement, many of whom were Christian. They said, "Alex, if you have any kind of a platform, you need to say this. The Biden DOJ and INS has opposed every attempt to secure the border." Now, listen to this. They said, people are crossing the border in mass, and vans will come at night with license plates like St. Louis, Missouri, New York City, Detroit. Half a dozen guys will come out of the bushes, get in a van, and these vans are taking illegals up into the interior of America. They said, now, in a place called Yoakum, Texas, I believe it was, or it might have been Yorktown. It was a Y. They said some of these illegals robbed a convenience store, and we arrested some of them. And they found out they were Muslim terrorists trained in jihadi camps in China. And there were millions, nearly 20 million. Now, not all of the illegals that came in during the Biden administration were jihadis, but many, many were. And along the Texas border, Kamala Harris was the border czar. I actually went to the border, but law enforcement, they were saying, look, this has to be organized because, automobiles with license plates are getting these illegals, taking them up into Lord knows where. And I, as recently as this weekend, was in another state meeting with law enforcement, many of whom are Christians, all of whom are patriots. And they said there are terror cells yet in this country. The left is just freaking out about, Donald Trump and ICE is, violating human rights. What is not in the news is there are known terror cells. Rob, outside of Atlanta, Georgia, I spoke down there, and, you speak in 2,000 churches and 200 universities throughout all 50 states. You hear a lot of things, meet a lot of people. The North Carolina Sheriff's Association, I've spoken to them about Islam, members of the FBI. Let me just say this. There is a major Islamic terror cell outside of Atlanta, Georgia, that is too dangerous for law enforcement to even go there unassisted. There are major terror cells in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in Middle America, in Indiana, even in Ohio. And folks, let me just say this, Christianity aside, I mean, I'm a minister. My MO in life, Rob, is to try to get people to find Jesus. But my friend Charlie Kirk said this: the most important thing in life is to fulfill the Great Commission, to win people to the Lord. But the second most important thing is to keep it legal to do the first most important thing. And we, regardless of your spiritual or political persuasions, it's only right that the U.S. government protect the safety and welfare of U.S. citizens. People talk about the rights of illegal aliens. Look, illegals don't have any rights as Americans do. Now, there are human rights, and people that are detained are to be detained humanely, and these are, the accords of humane warfare and lawfare. But in terms of goods and services, people that are here illegally don't have rights. You have forfeited part of the penumbra of rights by entering the country illegally.
That's it. Hey, listen, give everybody the website so they can go and find out about you.
Just alexmcfarland.com. I'm just a saved sinner who is excited about Jesus, but I do love the United States of America.
We do, and we love having you here. I'm going to put this request in now. Would love to have you back, and because this is so much fun, Alex, and we'll be back. We've got more, a final thought after this.
Social media today is noisy, divided, and too often hostile to Christian values, a place where truth is twisted and faith is often silenced. What if there was a place for believers where you could share your story, grow in your faith, and be encouraged every day? Introducing Acts Social, the #1 Christ-centered social platform built to unite Christians worldwide in truth, hope, and love. Share your faith openly. Discover powerful, uplifting content. Join prayer groups. Encourage others. Find news and events from a biblical worldview all in one place. And do it all free from big tech censorship, invasive tracking, and endless ads. Because the body of Christ was never meant to be scattered. It was meant to be together, every day, everywhere. ActsSocial.com, the fastest growing platform for Christ-centered connection. Join us and be part of something eternal.
Hey, Acts Social. If you're feeling at times like social media isn't the place for you, like you're kind of an outsider on social media, I want to tell you about Act Social. It's actssocial.com. We are a part of it. In fact, not only do we believe in it, but my wife and I sat down with the owners and became one of the corporate sponsors. Act Social, actssocial.com, along with Chick-fil-A, Hobby Lobby, and Abundant TV. We are working to bring an incredible social media experience for you. You can follow me, go to actssocial.com, use the referral code of Abundant TV or my name, and we would love to see you there. Follow us. And by the way, the fastest growing group on there is the Abundant group, which I really don't have any clue how we did that. So don't ask me. I will not be able to tell you. Man, it was so great having Dr. Alex McFarland on today's edition of the show. He is really smart about things that I love, and I love listening to him. And so that was an incredible interview. We're going to have Alex back, I'm sure, unless he totally didn't like me, and then we won't. So you'll be able to tell. Anyway, hey, listen, we're in the fall season. Is it crazy or what? Okay, so here's the thing. Do you rake your own leaves, or do you have somebody? Now, I believe in entrepreneurial shit. I believe in entrepreneurial spirit and the entrepreneur experience. So we have a kid in our neighborhood, and I love him. He's a freshman in high school, and he came over and put a flyer on our door. And I said, you know what? My wife and I, both being business owners, went, this is cool. This is somebody that's hustling and wants to do something. So we quickly called him, and he did all of our leaves and did our whole yard, did everything. It's all out in the front, going to be picked up by the leaf removal people, or whatever they're called. And it was incredible. And I love that kind of spirit. Owen, if you're watching, which you're not, I know, because you're in school. But man, those kinds of things. So do that. Did you, but if you did you rake, or do you have a blower? How do you do that? It's an interesting study. And this is an interesting study I saw today about this, and that's why I wanted to close with this, is they say that right now in the United States, over 50% of people who do their own yard have gone out and gotten their own gas blower. In fact, it's a new study that was out today talking about that. We talked about daylight savings time this Saturday night, Sunday morning. Gonna make for everybody. It's here's the thing, living in the Midwest, it's gonna be darker a lot longer, and I'm not totally sure I like that. And I definitely don't like the fact that we are preparing, by the way, in the state of Ohio, for colder than normal winter. I'm from Minnesota. I know when they say that, that means we're going to get snow. So we'll be doing updates on that next week. Can you believe it? Next week, we're already into the month of November. And I want you to do something for me, if you could, whether you hit us on the app or find us on social media. Hey, listen, tell me what you're thankful for. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you. And so we want to know what you're thankful for. We're going to put together something coming up during the month of November for our website, and we'll do that coming up. Like I said, tell us what you're thankful for. I just appreciate each and every one of you. Dr. Alex McFarland, that was a blast. A complete great morning. Great way to start our day. Great way to do the morning break. Man, that was awesome. Great morning on this beautiful Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been the morning break.